found a pocket of gold while advancing our drift to the rays. We found some amazing gold and quartz samples, and so today we're going to start off right where we left off last video, mucking out our last round and getting ready to drill and blast the vein and advance to the rays.
We're starting to fill up our muck wall pretty good to where it's really quite difficult to get buckets under there now. And so we've reverted our track over to this section of the room. And now we can start backfilling back over here and just work our way out of this room. And as we work our way this way, we'll just build the wall up from the other side, and then I can dump the waste buckets over the edge and backfill against the wall. We've hand mucked all that waste out of here. Now Harry's doing his favorite job, washing the face down. We've got it pretty much raked out. Nice smooth floor. Washing down the vein.
You can show them the gold.
Yeah, you want to see some gold?
Yeah, show them.
I want to show you the gold, but before we do, I want to show you what's going on with the vein here. It's kind of interesting. The right rib over here, which is east, and there's a fault about 40 feet that way, is pretty barren of sulfides. There's not a whole lot in there. There is still some pay though. There's a piece of gold right there, and it's hanging out right below this slip. So right below the hanging wall is where the pay is, but not, like I said, not much sulfides. This is our face of our heading, and once we got over here, something happened with the vein intrusion, and it's just laced with sulfides. Some of it's just almost pure sulfides. All this is just pure pyrrhotite. And the gold line over here is a little bit lower. Here's my hand. It's right along here. Here's the slip apparently that has the gold, and it comes right around here. I'll show you some of the really nice tellurides we have. Right up in here is all that silver telluride the gold hangs out with. There's a really nice crystal. Coming across right here, we're starting to see a spot with some really nice gold in it. This is that telluride, and then over here you're starting to get more telluride and some really nice gold. Let me show you some gold here. So there's some gold right down in here, right along there, some pieces kind of back in that hole that are hanging out like, Harry used the term shark fin the other day. I like that.
Yeah, it looks like a shark fin.
Like a shark fin. A bunch of gold there. There's some gold here. There's some gold down here. And so that band, wherever you have that band of tellurides, you get the gold. But what happens is that band of tellurides comes across, and then it comes up right onto the hanging wall again. So these sulfides apparently came after the tellurides, and over here towards the fault on the east rib, there's no more sulfides. So a good example of multiple intrusions of fluid.
It's a little bit hard to explain the unique environment it is working underground. It's dark, you get a little spotlight for your headlamp, but it's a little bit, it's hard to get your bearings sometimes. It's really hard to tell direction. It's cold, it's wet in our mind, and it's just a whole lot of work, whether you're mucking, whether you're drilling, whether you're setting up to drill, whether you're blasting. Everything is heavy, everything is work, and in our mind, we're doing everything by hand. We are continuing drilling towards our rays. At this point, we have gone about 10 feet, and we need to go a total of about 40. Well, now it's Harry's turn with mine operator. He's going to hop on the drill here. We are using button bits. So these are carbide button bits. They go on the end of the steel, and here you can see we have our hole collared. The water is knocking the dust down, keeping the rock chips and the dust down. Steel rotates and hammers, so every quarter or eighth of a rotation, the drill steel hammers the bottom of the hole, so it will hit, turn an eighth of a turn, hit again, and we just keep pounding away, drilling our holes. We're doing 4-foot holes. You can see here we're working on our burn, so the 0 hole has the white PVC pipe in it, which helps us line up the future drill holes. Once you have one hole in place, you want all the other holes to run parallel to that all the way back. And the goal is that the bottom of the hole has the same orientation as the hole at the face. This is a Gardner Denver FL83 drill. You can see Harry's left hand on the throttle, his right hand is on the corn cob, which controls the leg pressure. And here is a good view of this leg running. You give it enough air to lift the drill and push the drill steel into the bottom of the hole. But if you give it too much pressure, the drill steel can bind in the hole and cause you problems. So it's a real delicate balance between enough pressure to get the drill hammering in the bottom of the hole, but not too much to where you're binding it. The burn cut, you want your holes spaced a couple, 2, 3, 4 inches apart, because that's where the hole explosion starts, and you want to open that up. As you go farther away from the burn cut, you can space your holes out because you've opened up a large enough area where you can shoot more rock into it and you have a bigger space for it to go to. The burn is done, and now we're starting to drill out onto our face farther away from the burn. So we're going to do 2 or 3 holes in a vertical pattern, and we'll start slabbing those in when we start blasting.
Harry's got our face all cleaned out, blowing out all the holes. He's got the hose for the prill pot all staged and ready. We keep our Ampho prill in sealed containers to try and keep it dry. Okay, Harry's doing his 3 honks in the horn. He'll hit me on the radio here when he gets the warning blast out, and then I will shoot this thing. All right, I got the all clear from Harry. Let's blast this thing. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. Oh, nice shot. All right, it's the next day. Harry's gonna kick on the vent fan. This yellow fan bag blows clean air all the way down to the face. And we're gonna let that vent for 5-10 minutes. Harry and I are excited to see we did not use stemming this time. We didn't have any ready.
Yeah, I failed to make those the night before.
And our holes were a little wet, so we just decided to shoot it. So we're gonna see what our round looks like without being stemmed. There's a pretty good one right above the face there that's gonna come down. And this is why you scale, because what you really want to do is run in there and poke your head in that hole, but you don't want to get hit by that. Let's see what we got here. So it doesn't look like it broke very good, but look at some of this metal. Wow. Sulfides, pure sulfides all the way through. So yeah, we've got a mess here is what we got. It didn't break all the way to the back. Didn't break to the slip I wanted it to. That one, all right. I'm a fan of stemming.
Yeah, me too.
You converted me. Got to stem it. All right, well, we'll get it washed down, scale down what we can of the vein in there, and kind of assess what we got. Honestly, I'm kind of disappointed. I thought it would have performed a little better than that, but it didn't. And now we got a little bit of a mess. And you know, we took all the time yesterday to drill it out and diesel with the compressor and the cost of explosives, and we were in a rush right at the very end and didn't do our stemming, and it bit us. So we're going to get cleaned up as best we can, assess what we have, and then we'll have to make a plan on how to keep going forward. But I guess that's how you learn stuff, you know. We took a chance and it didn't work out, and I am sold on stemming 100%. We're going to use stemming every time from now on. And you know, Harry's the one that's insisting on it, and he's got a system that really works well, so we're going to use it. And hopefully the next round is going to break right back to the face. The silver lining to this whole thing is we got some pretty nice ore, though. Look at that Mount Baker lightning quartz. All right, well, Harry's getting all excited about something back here. What do you got, Harry?
I love sulfides,
Oh, yeah.
but we're getting solid pyrrhotite, just giant chunks of it.
Yeah, Mount Baker lightning quartz. So we're separating that out in a bag.
We'll slab that.
Slop that up. And then look here, you can see it in the vein. It's just all sulfides, just all pyrrhotite. It wraps around under there. You got a good piece?
I'm trying to muck, and then I see this, and then there's just
Whoa!
a little piece of gold there, and then there's this little picker sticking out of the rock right there.
Oh, nice. Here, get your light. Let's see. Yeah, the light on it really screws
Yeah, my headlight's not helping
with
you.
the. Yeah, that right there is a nice little piece. Come on, focus. And then there's some, and there's a bunch right there. Whoa, that is a really good piece.
Yeah.
Put it in the bag.
In the bag.
This might be the best piece right here. See that? Oh, that's coming across really good too. That is a huge piece of gold for this mine. Let's get this washed off. Oh man, there's another good piece in there too somewhere. Harry, you see it? Oh yeah, you got it in your hand. Okay, hold on. Let's wash this off.
That flake, don't let it get away.
I know. I hope it's still attached.
I don't think it is. Oh yeah, there's
Oh no, it's loose. You're right, it's loose.
Yeah. You got foil gold.
I got loose gold.
Yep, this has got gold in it. It's tiny.
Oh man. What do I do with this thing? Let's do this. Let's wash all our specimens in this bucket, and then we'll get all the good mud out of the bottom.
That's what I was planning on doing.
Okay, so that's gonna go away. Okay, bye gold. Yeah, look at that. Oh man. It's kind of heartbreaking actually. All right, I have in my hand, I think, one of the best pieces we've pulled this year.
We're not going to get anything done today.
There, and then across there. Trying to get it focused for you. There we go. Yeah. Gold sticking there. Gold sticking there. Gold down here.
I'm trying.
Production is at a crawl here. Oh boy! Even when I'm filming him, tell him he's going slow. He won't even buck. All right, he puts it in a bag, like that.
Hold the bag.
Light bag. And then he hands me the bag. I put it on the scale. So that one's 20.5 pounds. So when I come over, I grab a bunch of lightning quartz, put it in the bag. Oh, that's a nice piece. That's a good one.
Whoever's getting this bag is stuff just coming right out of the pocket.
That's a good bag.
Yeah.
So I put 4, 5, 6 pieces of lightning quartz in the bag. We're up at 28.5 pounds or so. And then I put a zip tie on it. And then it goes in the cart. Harry just pulled this out, and I've never seen this before in this vein, but it has little vugs. And if you look real close, right down in that vug, I think that's a piece of gold. Which again is unusual for this vein. it's usually just really, really solid. But you get these vugs in here, and I've read about this all my life, about the vugs having gold in them, and there's a piece right there, right in that vug. Little quartz crystals. See the little quartz crystals growing out of there, and then hiding right down there. Boom. That is a cool little piece of gold. All right, mission accomplished. We've got it mucked down pretty much to the waste. We didn't want to go too far and start taking a bunch of waste. We're going to try and do something with these pillars over here. I don't know if we're going to shoot them or maybe take a double jack to them and try and bust them out.
I think you're gonna try the double jack method first.
I'm going to try it first and see how that goes. What do you got?
Spring
Whoa.
sulfide, solid pyrrhotite.
That is a nice piece. And we got a whole bag of stuff like that, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe not that good, but we'll take that stuff down and slab it too, huh?
That's good.
All right, well, let's beat on this corner here. The reason why, we were talking earlier about maybe coming in and putting a half a stick in each one of these holes and trying to pop it all off, but there's a really nice band of that Telluride gold stuff right there. And so if we can beat it off with a hammer, there's going to be some really nice samples in there. If we blast it, it could just go all over the place. Well, I'm trying to do a little surgery here. I'm getting some stuff, but I wanted to show you this. There's a little blade of Tellurides right there. And then right on top is a little blade of gold. See, it's kind of, you can see the edge. And I hope if I pan around here, there you can see the face. It's a little blade right there on top of that Telluride crystal. See if we can get it off. Well, I got that gold blade off of there. Now there's a bunch of gold behind it right in the quartz. That line is just where the money is. Right in that little band. Well, we made the decision to just pop these things. Brought up some stick powder. We're just going to do like a quarter to a half a stick in each one of these holes. And there's, you know, maybe 100, 150 pounds here, but man, there's really, really good gold right here that we want to try and recover. Hopefully there's going to be some nice specimens there. Oh, that might be a little bit too long. And then this one, here, we'll cut. And that one, nice. Don't need my keys covering explosives. The airport doesn't like that. I'll probably edit that out. Oh. And another shorty for our third cap. Right in the middle, this is where all the gold is. Uh-oh. I think we have room for stemming.
You'll squish it in there.
Okay, yeah, well, it'll get squished in there, like you said. Harry's packing his stemming in there. Got a little one in there. And that's to try and hold the gases in the hole so they blast sideways out the rock and don't just come shotgunning right out the front.
Backs are stemmed.
Backs are stemmed. So, yeah, what happened, we just broke, we have a little collar here that didn't break in the front. So we're just going to try and pop that off. Okay, so I want all three of these to go at the same time, but that's really hard to do with the zero because you got to point the zero at the shock tubes. So I'm going to waste a cap and use the clipped end of the cap to detonate all three of these at the same time. And then I can hook my zero up to this one, and this is just going to blast off and not do anything. It'll just set the timing for these three. Okay, Harry's giving me the all clear. We should hear 3 quick boom, boom, boom. And then 7 seconds later, a boom, boom. Here we go. There's 3. Two. Man, those are big booms. For half a stick, that's a big boom. So it's the next morning, we've got our airbag on, we're venting out the gases. There's really not very much. Do you smell any here? I don't smell anything.
No.
And then we'll scale our way back in and look for specimens. And how do we do here? Oh yeah, we cleaned it right up.
This will probably come out at some point.
Yeah. We just started washing down. Good sulfide stuff. Lots of metal. So we're just going to work our way through this, kind of hand picking, and then everything else will get mucked into bags. But it cleaned it right off of there, just like it was supposed to. Well, we've kind of picked through our pile here. We found a couple little pieces, nothing to write home about. I think we just kind of obliterated most of the specimens by ripping all that stuff off, all 3 at the same time. So we're just going to get this mucked into a couple bags, and then we really need to get moving, shooting out this waste. So we're getting ready to drill out that second round of waste, and it's time for a bit change. We've lost 2 of our little buttons. The rest of the buttons are getting pretty small, so we're going to knock that off of there and put a new bit on. These bits are just compression held on the end of the steel. So you take your bit knocker here, slide it down the steel, and I'm going to whack it hard with a double jack and pop that thing off of there. Whacked it good and hard. Now the bit comes off of there. Little brass sleeve in there, but that is garbage now. Now we got a brand new bit on there. Little focus. I just put it on there and I beat it against some hard rock. Force it on there, and then the drill will do the rest. This thing here is our oiler, so we run this right behind the drill. And we put drill oil in there. We're about half, so I'll fill it back up. And that helps keep the drill lubricated while it's working. Get a valve on there so you can turn the air off at the drill. It's real nice. And then we've got these whip checks. So if this connection comes off, it's not flailing around and hitting somebody in the head. I've marked out our holes kind of where I could there with the paint. So I got 2 rows of 4 on the bottom. And I've got 2 rows, 1 of 3 and 1 of 2 at the top. So 13 holes total. We're going to use the big hole here as our burn. And I'll probably take these first, then that row, and then the lifters last. Boom. I've got them all blown out. We'll go get some explosives, get it loaded. All right, we're all loaded, ready to shoot. Harry's done his horn honks. Here we go.
We have run into a problem with our drift, and we got to figure out what's going on. Even with the problems we face, we're still finding gold, we're still having a lot of fun, and we're still making big booms.
Well, we broke back to that base. Really nice. That's that slip that was making all that water. It's just smooth as can be. There's a little bit right there where there's water coming out. See it trickling out of there. That's what was causing us all our problems with our wet holes. The vein's really pinched down. It's down about 1 foot or maybe less over here. But it's doing something real weird in here as we get close to the slip and as we get close to the fault. It's kind of coming up here and then it peters out and dives down. This slip may be have a little bit of movement to it. Don't know if it was before or after emplacement, but I think it's interesting that it's pinching right as you get to this little slip, and afterwards you might have something else going on. We're going to continue our way forward here towards the raise, but we are making an agonizing decision here. The vein continues through it. The vein hanging wall is right about here. You can kind of see the quartz through the mud, but the vein is very small right here. It's about 16, 18 inches maybe. It's pinching this way. The fault is over here somewhere. And we've decided we're not going to take any of this ore. We're just going to do one full eye drift round, one full round, and take it all as waste, and then we'll see what's going on the other side of this little slip here. It's really tough because, you know, that's good ore there, but it would just take too long, and there's just not enough of it there to make it worth our while. So there's our 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to box that in. 2, 3, 4, and then we'll diamond around that. 3, 4, and then we'll do another box. We can kind of space them out now because we're going to have a big old hole here. 2, 3, 4. My finger's covering the hole. And then we'll do 1, 2, 3 across there. And maybe that'll do 2. 2 there. And then we'll come down, we'll do a row of 3 across here. 2, 3, and then our lifters. I like to do 4 lifters just to make sure you really get it blasted out of there. And so I think that's about 24 holes, 25 holes. They're not set in stone, so if we start drilling and something happens, we want to change things around, we can change stuff. But that's kind of a real quick, dirty, basic pattern for a drift round. And the whole idea is you start tight. This hole we will not load, so you'll have somewhere for the first hole to break to. You start opening up a hole, you open up the bigger hole, you open up the diamond, you open up the box, and then you start breaking stuff to the middle. That's kind of how it goes. And on some of these that are out here on the ribs, we may wing them out just a little bit so we can get some width to our drift. We're shooting for about 4 feet, which is about what we have here. This is a real nice working space and real nice for when we get our slusher bucket in here. So that's what we'll try, see how it goes. I just got done loading and hooking up the round. And here's what we got. Spaghetti monster. We got our number 1, 2, 3, 4. Those blue clips. You clip them up in order you want them to go. And then I start opening up the middle with my square, and then my diamond, and then my larger square. And then I start taking the top and the bottoms in. So I've got all the blue clips are hooked up except for the very last 2, the last 2 corner lifters. They'll be out here as little tattletales, so if we find those and those went, it means the whole round went. So Harry's loading the stemming in the holes, and that keeps the gases in, gives us a much better breakage than without stemming. Well, it's our first night blast. It's dark out there. Been working all day for this. Here we go. Whoa! That was a big one. That was a good blast. Whew, I felt that one in my chest and in my feet. All right, it's the next morning. We're gonna vent out our workings a little bit here, get all the gases out. Here's our little vent fan and our airbag. I got the compressor going, so I turn this on and that vent bag. We scaled our way back to the kind of collar of our drift here. Harry's getting her washed down. Big pile of muck. It's all pretty much staying contained inside the drift now. There's just a little bit out here. We'll get cleaned up and then push our rail back in.
I grabbed another long section of track back there.
Okay.
Road station we can drag in.
I like that metal track.
Yeah, me too. We're gonna pull some of that up from down below.
Yep. How are we looking back there? Looking pretty good.
It looks flat.
It looks like it broke to the back. There's a few holes I see over on the right rib over here, but it looks pretty good.
I'm really holes I went a little too far, maybe like 3 or 4 inches too far on some of those.
Okay. I'm definitely glad we're past that slip. It looks fairly dry back there now. That slip was giving us all sorts of water problems. So I'm glad we're through that. Looks like the vein is there on the face. So we'll give you an update here in a couple minutes once we're scaled back and everything's safe. Our vein here is about 1 foot wide, maybe a little less. It's widening out on the right rib here. Here's our slip that's been giving us problems, and that goes all the way up and around, all the way across the back and down here to the other side of the vein, or the other side of the drift, I guess. It does not look like there's been any movement post emplacement, but it does look like this slip was here during emplacement. We had a real nice defined vein coming in here, and then as soon as you get within 2 or 3 feet of the slip, it starts going all kind of wonky here. It crosses the slip, the vein stays intact, but it pinches quite a bit. It also looks like there might be a little bit of quartz kind of up around the slip, but not much. And it's quite interesting. I did a structural geology problem on a very similar to this, where we had to calculate a fault or a slip and a vein emplacement, and would the vein cut through the fault or would it go up the fault, and depending on the pressures and the stresses on the rock, the vein will cut right through the slip, just like it did here. I mean, this is a textbook example of if this slip was here before the vein was in place, the pressures were just right, the vein will cut right across that slip. So it's kind of cool to calculate it 20 years ago in class and then see it happen in real life. But we have muck upon muck upon muck here to get cleaned up today. Probably 2 days. This is a 2-day project, don't you think?
I'm not going to answer that right
now. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. So we'll get started on mucking here. It's going to be, this is the definition of a marathon. It's going to take us more than a day to get this cleaned up. You're going to see it happen in about 2 minutes, but it's going to take us all day doing it by hand, by buckets, 3 buckets at a time, pushing it down the rail on the cart. And you just can't get too excited. You'll burn yourself out. So you just got to go slow and steady and pick your way through it. We're going to improve our track here a little bit. We've got just pieces like right there. They're just kind of sitting there. The cart's getting hung up on them. So we're going to try and do about 15-20 minutes worth of work on our track and get it a little more solid.
There's Jason beating the track into submission again.
Track repair!
Yep, track repair.
This is as Jippo as you get here.
Yeah.
Just cheap fast, tie our tracks together. But now we've got good track tied together at the corner, straight shot to the muck pile. Put another sleeper down there, and then we can just keep extending our track out. It's gonna be great. Right here, it's gonna be great. Okay, test her out.
Nice.
That's fun.
Got a downhill slope, at least right here.
Ready to go. And this is what it looks like. I push the cart back here and start building Muck Mountain. We get the muck as high as we can with the buckets, and then the last couple feet to the back, we throw the bigger rocks up there to just plug the whole thing off. Tool station, and then there's our rail going back towards working. We probably got almost 50 feet of rail now. But if you guys are as crazy as we are and think this looks like fun and want to come help out, send me an email. I'll put an email address right down here at the bottom. And email me. We got to get you some training and stuff. But if you want to come work for the season, shoot me an email and we'll see if you're cut out to muck with Jason and Harry. Well, Harry, it's lunchtime.
Yeah, it is.
We've been going 2 hours and 15 minutes. We started at 9:45 mucking this morning, and we are more than halfway. We just finished. It's 4 o'clock now. We had 3 hours this afternoon, 2 hours and 15 minutes this morning. So it's that 5.5 hours, somewhere in there. So we killed it. Here's our face. Our lifters went beautiful. They kicked out underneath even a little bit. We got a little bit of a belly here. Not much, maybe 6-8 inches. And then there's our back all the way up there. We're to the point now where we're a little bit high. I can reach about 8.5 feet. So we went too high on our back. So we'll bring that down a little bit so we won't have to muck as much. Our vein is pinching. The next round will be all waste again. We've picked out a little bit of the larger stuff we'll bag up. We've got our face all loaded again. Harry's working on stemming. I'm going to clean up a little bit of prill we have left out of our prill pot. A couple of caps and stuff. Get that cleaned up. Back down to the magazines right after we blow this stuff.
I missed. I think I'm tired.
I'm tired too. This has been a long day. But we're going to make a big boom and it's all going to be worth it.
Yeah, this is an ugly face. I don't want to see this ugly face again.
Yeah. Yeah, I want just a nice, flat, beautiful looking face.
There's something going on back there when we were drilling. Kept getting these like soft spots and the drill would just lurch forward. Smelled like sulfur. And get past it.
All kinds of weird stuff can happen when you get close to that fault. This will be a good round. We got a lot of caps in here. 35, I think. 34, 35 holes, something like that. Spaced them a little bit closer together. Hopefully that'll help the face pull right to the back of these holes. I was really careful to get the burn pretty close and the box and the diamond.
Yeah, we're all stemmed.
All stemmed?
It's on you now.
All right, I'll hook them up. Well, I don't think you can see me at all, but we're doing another night blast. I just got to get my battery here. Okay, here we go. All right, this is the next morning. We're headed in to check on our face. We vented it all out. I hear Harry in here with the bar, scaling away. How goes it, Harry?
Good. I think the lifters work.
What do we got?
Past the our little portal there.
Don't go past the portal. Okay, I haven't scaled through there yet. Let's take a look. Holy cow! Wow! Now that is a big pile of muck. Is that how big we wanted it?
Yeah.
That's a big pile. Holy cow. From what I can see, the face looks good though.
Did we get our wish?
From what I can see, it's hard to tell from here, but it looks pretty darn good. Well, there's the kind of collar of our heading. I'm sitting on a mountain of muck, muck mountain number 2, and then here is our face, which looks just absolutely perfect. Square across the back, flat on the face. Right there's a 0 hole. We drilled it out 6 feet so it can kind of give us a direction on where to go for our next round. The vein is doing something weird here. It's coming in this way fairly flat, and then it's just rolling right down, right into this left rib, which is unexpected. I thought, judging by other geology around, it's supposed to roll up. It's supposed to get going up, but it's doing exactly the opposite of what it's supposed to do. As we get closer and closer to that fault, the vein could be doing all sorts of weird stuff. We got to get all of this stuff back over here to where we're mucking everything, and we're just filling this thing up all the way to the back. What you're seeing back there is about 5 feet high, about my eye level. We got some room over our head, we got some room back there, so we're gonna make all that over there, come over here, 3 buckets at a time, and then we're gonna leave all this over here on the rib, just like we did last time. That rock's what we call the king's chair. That's where Harry sits. But check this out. Yeah, the stemming.
If this had shotgunned out, it would have been in a million pieces, but this held
it and kept all those gases in and did its job. I like stemming. I'm a stemming guy now. Well, how long have we been going? Half an hour, 45 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
Not too bad. A ton every half an hour.
We'll be past or at the hump by lunch.
Oh yeah. Okay, 81 buckets in.
81.
81. Harry's got a pretty darn good whack here. We're not too terribly far from the hump of the pile, but there's a lot of muck between us and the hump. So we've got 2 tons down, out of the way.
What is that, about a ton an hour?
About a ton an hour, yeah. I think last time I checked it was 10:45 at 40, and now it's 11, so a ton every 45 minutes. Harry and I have also been discussing some of the advantages of working here. What did we come up with, Harry? We got a mandatory weight loss program.
Yeah, we have a mining weight loss program.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
We have workout. It's workout all day, every day.
Yeah, the workout of the day is to work nonstop.
Muck nonstop, drill nonstop. What else? We have all you can eat buffet.
Yeah, we have an all you can eat buffet.
But only 3 times a day.
Yeah.
So it's very scheduled.
We go through a pound of ground beef a day. We go through like 6 or 7 eggs.
Oh yeah.
About a stick of butter a day.
Yeah. and we're still losing weight. I've lost 10 pounds since we started, and I don't know if I had 10 pounds to lose, so it's... All right, this is the 120 bucket update. 3 tons. Harry's almost to the hump. So now I'm the bottleneck, because when Harry has his big face here, he can just put 3 buckets side by side and get them all full real fast.
Now gravity's working for us.
Yeah. So do you like working when it's a shallower pile or a bigger, deeper pile?
I like the tall piles.
You like the tall piles?
It just rolls right into the bucket. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah. And
Taller is better.
even though it's a little bit daunting to sit there with a huge mountain in front of you, it just rolls right into your buckets.
Yeah, it just goes right in.
We just passed 200 buckets. 201 so far. I don't know what that is. Is that 6 tons? 3, 4. I don't know what it is. 5 tons? 5 tons.
Sure. It doesn't matter if it's 5 tons or 100 tons. We gotta move this shit.
we gotta move this stuff.
We gotta move this stuff.
So we got 5 tons behind us. We've got another probably 3, 4, 5 to go. It's just non-stop.
Yeah, but I can stand up.
The good news is we've been keeping up with our 40-minute a ton pace. So even after lunch, we've got our 40-minute tons down. It's 2 o'clock. We got 2.5 more hours till we got to quit. And so in 150 minutes, we should be able to get almost 4 tons done. So there might be hope we can get this stuff done today. We're through the peak, the hump. We're working our way back down. Harry's getting 3 at a time, so he's running me ragged because he's got that nice face. He just sloughs it all down into a bucket. But let's look here. As soon as we're done with this,
I found that soft spot we were hitting with the drill.
yeah,
Right here.
oh, Gucci.
Yeah. That's where we were hitting with the drill, and I was like, why is it lurching forward?
But after this hump, then we just got that little pile back there is all. Those 3 buckets right there are 98, or 298, 299, and 300. He did 240 buckets, hand mucking the pile, and I came back and did the last 60. That's as far as we got. Oh, it has been a long, long day. We're through the main pile. Now I think we've only got about 2.5 feet of muck back about 4 or 5 feet before we get to our face. We're back to mucking. It's the second day. You can tell because my shirt's changed. We have finally finished it. 217 bags or buckets today, 300 yesterday. That's just a lot of muck. About 13 tons, 14 tons, somewhere in there. We got our face kind of washed off here as best we could. Really interesting geology going on here. I don't know quite what to make of it. Here's the right rib. It's about 2.5 foot vein. Nice sulfides. We found our tellurides in this side. There's some gold in here we saw with the loop. It comes around right to our face, which has a slip in it. Here's another slip, runs all the way up around the back, all the way to the other rib. And it parallels this slip that we had 4 feet, 5, 6 feet behind us. So there's 5, 6 feet behind us. That's the one that was making all that water a couple rounds ago. The interesting thing is the vein comes across here, the right rib, nice and wide. It hits that slip and pinches right down to almost nothing. I don't know if we get cut off, but if you look over here on the left rib, here's our little pinched vein coming around, and it rolls right up into that slip for a little ways. It doesn't follow the slip very far, and it actually kind of trails off over here a little bit, but it rolls up there. You get a little waste coming in, almost like there was some movement during or just after the vein emplacement. This rib, it's much smaller, about 18 inches wide, down to about 12 over here. But I also want to come back and look at this slip we saw back here, because the vein does something similar. It rolls up into the slip. You get some waste gouged down into the vein. So it's almost like as the vein was getting in place, there was maybe a little bit of movement on these joints or these little tiny faults, and you were getting some rolling up action into the hanging wall. I don't know what that means past here. So our next 4 feet is going to be interesting because, again, the vein's supposed to come in. It's fairly flat now. It's supposed to roll up. It's supposed to dip up about 25 to 35 degrees is what it's doing on the surface, which is not too far away. And the raise is only about 20 feet this way, and it's also dipping up. So something's got to happen here real quick with the vein, and I'm not sure what it's going to be. I was all excited that we had a nice wide vein over here because I was thinking maybe we get another ore round, but I think we can scale off as much as we can here, put that in bags, but then this little slip fault thing, we'll poke some holes around and we can look in the bottom of the holes and see if we see ore, but I'm thinking our vein's pinching down to almost nothing. Well, it's been a really long day. We're tired, but we got it all mucked out. We're ready to drill and blast again. A nice evening to end on. Doesn't get much better than this.
Big lick. Ready for air?
Yeah.
Air. We are back to drilling the next morning, and a lot of you guys have been asking how much does it cost to drill and blast around. I would say by far and away the highest cost is the labor. So you got 2 guys, it pretty much takes us all day to get a round drilled, loaded, blasted, and so you're probably talking about $1,000 in cost right there for the 2 guys. Then you've got powder. Stick powder is about $4 a pound. Ampho is only about 69 cents a pound. So it's pretty cheap as far as powder goes. Caps are somewhere in the $10 to $15 a piece range. And so you're looking at a 25 or 30 cap round is going to be, let's say, $300. And then you've got another 50 pounds of Ampho, maybe a little bit more. So when it's all said and done, you got diesel, you got equipment, you got labor, you got everything all stacked on top of each other. It's probably about $1,500 or $2,000 to do a 4-foot round. If we did 6-foot rounds, it would be a little bit cheaper because it wouldn't take us a whole lot longer to drill 6-foot holes, and the powder that we used wouldn't be a whole lot more, and you're using the same amount of caps. So hopefully that clears up some of the questions you guys have had in the comments about how much does it cost to drill and blast around.
What's going on?
There's a slit back there about 3 feet, and it's all this brown goopy stuff, but it's squeezing our holes. That one's good. Yeah, see the zeros. We don't load this one, but the zero's full of crap on it.
Oh, I can see it.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's all gross. We just had our steel stuck real bad in that slit back there about 3 feet.
What's that?
I knocked the bit off. I'll show you what this looks like. We didn't catch it in time. It jammed a bunch of mud down the water holes, and it filled the inside of the bit up with mud, and now our steel's plugged. So we'll get a little piece of wire. We'll jam it down that steel, see if we can unplug it. Well, we've been going on this face for a while. We're about halfway done. And there's a nasty slit back there about 3 to 4 feet. And we keep plugging our steel on it. And sometimes it'll stick the steel in there. We got to pull it out. It's a real pain. But we're about halfway done. We've got the other left rib here. The 3 on top, and then a couple rows on the bottom, and we'll be all set with this round. But boy, it's been making a little bit of water out of these lower holes. That's going to be a problem. The slit back there is causing us grief. I thought it was going to be this great easy round, and it turned out not to be. Well, the slip got us again. This time it was me. And I know it's back there, I know where it is. I'm trying to be real gentle with the leg pressure, but you just get in there and it just binds up and plugs the steel. See all that brown mud coming out of there? Ugh. So this is what we're dealing with on this round. It really sucks.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. It's coming. Yep. Oh. That ugly thing.
We finished drilling the face. That was a bear. I think we got it sorted out. So we're going to blow all the holes out and go from there.
Well, we're getting ready to load this round, and we've got a couple of problems that we're faced with. We have some holes that are making water here. That one, that one, that one, that one. So those 4. But then up here, that one was making water, that one was making water, that one was making water. When we hit that slit back there, remember, we kept fighting it. As we drilled lower, the water kept coming out the lower holes. This is all the stick powder we have left. There's 13 sticks there. Typically what we do is we load the lifters, the bottom holes, with stick because they're typically wet, but we've got a bunch of wet holes and not very much stick. The other issue is, my concern is when we shove stick in that hole right there, it's going to end up plugging the seam or the slit, and the water is going to fill up and start coming out that hole or that hole. And so we've got to be a little bit strategic here about how we load. What we're going to try, I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try and put a cap and a stick in these 4 holes and see if that seals up the slip in the water. If that seals it up, then we can load the rest with Ampho, and we'll just keep chasing the water up the slip, I guess, until we get it all plugged off. Not all the holes make water. These ones up here never made water, so we're just going to load those with Ampho right from the get-go all the way to the bottom. But these 6, 8, 10 holes down here may give us a little bit of a problem, and if we had 40 or 50 sticks, it wouldn't be a big deal, but we don't. We're down to 13, and we're going to use them all on this round, I think. All right, well, it didn't quite work the way I'd hoped. I've got 2.5 sticks in those 2. I've got 2.5 sticks in those 2, and I've got 1 stick in each of those. I think we can blow those out with the Pearl Pot hose and load them with Ampho, and they'll be fine. These ones are still making water, so I had to load them with 2.5 sticks. I've got 1 stick left there that I can either use in another hole or maybe split it between these 2 or something, or just shove it in those 2. I don't know what I'm going to do, but there he's tamping in the stemming. We found that this really makes a big difference for us for breakage, and our rock is super hard, and that stemming is just screened waste down to 3/8 minus, and he makes paper tubes and fills the paper tubes with the screen material, and it holds all the gases in just long enough for it to break out instead of rifling out the hole. It works really good for us.
Jason's finished clipping in.
Yep, it's like a hot mess, but
Hot mess.
hopefully it works.
Continuity check's been done on our wire. All we gotta do is hook up the cap and boogie.
Harry's about to do his first blast.
Well, this year.
Did you do one last year? You did one last year, yeah?
We did one last year.
All right, we should hear a whole series of small booms, boom, 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 and then big booms, boom, 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 right after.
You ready?
Yep.
Jason say.
That was good.
That was good.
That was a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
We captured it.
All right, awesome. We got our blast. See what it looks like tomorrow.
That was cool.
Yeah, nice work.
Yeah.
We're working our way back into our heading. Harry's scaling his way in. We got the vent bag blowing. And it's really nice now because almost all of our blast muck stays in our heading now. We're not getting it all over the kind of tool area here.
Spoke too soon. One made it out.
Oh, there's a big one.
Nice little 2 drill holes.
Well, at least that one made it.
There's another one.
There's another one. Yeah, I guess I spoke too soon. They're bouncing around out here a little bit. It's only about 4 feet high where Harry's standing. It really is just not ideal. That's why it's so nice. We got our heading going. It's up 7, 8 feet now. You can stand up and walk and not worry about hitting your head.
You kind of can't blame them though. I mean, they were doing this by hand. So.
Yeah, just take what you had to. Well, we got just a world of problems this morning, and I've debated whether I should put this on video or not. And my theory is that, you know, even when you make a mistake, maybe others can learn from it. So I'm going to show you what happened on our face here, and we're going to try and figure it out, and then we're going to clean it up and redo it. So here is our face. Not what you want to see. we've got most of the burn still has a bunch of ampho in it. We got holes down here with ampho. We got some holes that blew all the way out. That one, that one. But I'm quite confident that all the caps went, because the lifters all went down here. These all went. And those couldn't go if these ones somehow got cut off. And so I think what happened is our number 1 or number 2 right here in the burn shot, and it all went up the slip. All the explosive gases went up the slip, and it either separated, made a gap, like, you know, half an inch to an inch on the ampho. It cut the ampho, and so the very back of the hole went. It all went up into the slip and left the ampho in the face here. The ones that went, they just rifled right back out of the hole. Our original face was about here, so we only had about 6 or 8 inches come off the face. Interesting, they're not making any water anymore. Maybe what happened is we just blasted clay up into the slip and plugged the hole. But this is really not what you want, because now what we're going to do is we're going to take our water hose, we're going to wash all these out, pull the caps out, make sure they all went, and then we're going to have to reload and shoot it again. There are 2 what you call tattletales or telltales out here somewhere buried in the muck, and those will tell us if all the caps went, because the signal has to go all the way through the sequence to those last 2, and if those last 2 went, we'll know the whole face went. But I'm quite confident all the caps went. So not ideal, and again, not something you want to see, and this is not what you want in a blast. But again, the theory of, hey, this is what happened, for better or worse, and this is how we're going to fix it, so everyone can learn from it, and you know, maybe not make the same mistake I did. Here's an example of what I think I'm talking about. Here's one of the holes in the back, and here's where the rock broke out. But see all that mud that got shot out, oh, now you can see it. All that mud that got shot out and shot up, and I think the gases went up the slip and displaced all the mud and stuff down the holes. All the caps that I've been able to pull out so far have all gone. So I just think we lost all of our explosive gases in that slip, and it didn't transfer the chemical reaction across the slip and all the way out to the face. There's the burn. There's my 0. My number 1 went, kind of broke it up, and then I think it just, you know, shot up that slip, and there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all those just, they got cut off essentially. I mean, the cap went in the back, but the reaction got cut off by that slip and never made it to the face.
The slip. Revenge of the slip.
Revenge of the slip. So we just hook up our PVC pole to the water line. The ampho, once it gets wet, it just washes right out. But now the question in my mind is, what do we do different when we reload this thing? Well, we've been working a couple hours at this. We got them washed out as best we can. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back in after lunch, and we're going to shoot this diamond right here. See if we can open up the center of this thing. I don't want to waste a bunch of caps out here if the center doesn't go. So we're just going to work on these 9 or 10 holes right here in the burn and see if we can get this thing opened up. And then if we can get that back 2 or 3 feet, then we can start slabbing all this stuff around into it. But this is kind of a blaster's nightmare. And I don't know if you can see down there, but that's where the slip is, about a foot back there. And a bunch of rock was shot up into the hole, cutting off our amphibole and our caps. That one is the same thing. See if I find another good one. Here's one. See how that rock just shoved right up into the hole there, about a foot in? So we're just gonna reload these 10 holes right here in the center. Our 0 and number 1 is all kind of collapsed there, which just so happens to be right back at the slip, more or less. And so really we're just trying to get back about another foot and a half, see if we can get this opened up. Really disappointed with this one, but that's how it goes sometimes. If you guys have any advice on slips and blasting with slips and what I did wrong and how to fix it for next time, give me some advice, please, because this is really taking up a lot of time, a lot of money, and we're not getting very far. Well, it's a good thing we checked continuity, because our wires were broken by some fly rock on the last blast, and you really don't want to get it all hooked up, go out there, hit the battery to it and have it not go. So we're just going to fix this now. It's always nice to check continuity before you hook up. We're all hooked up. We got our diamond here, and then I got one more on the corner here. And I don't know, some of those holes are pretty short. Our burn is not very big, so cross your fingers for us. All right, I'm waiting to hear from Harry on our mine phone here. He's going out the bottom, I went out the top. As soon as I hear from him, go outside and we'll shoot this thing. All right, here we go. Sounded good. They were so fast I couldn't count them.
I wanted to give a big thank you to everybody for watching. Stay tuned to see how it goes, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything, and keep your fingers crossed for us that it all went well.